Wait, was it started?
Buenos dias, familia Cineverm.
Welcome to Cineverm.
We're reviewing The Favorite.
Yes.
My name is Chelsea Renteria. I'm just kidding. My name is Chelsea, and is my name Chelsea Renteria?
Once we change it, if you want to.
My name will soon be Chelsea Renteria, and this is Anthony Renteria.
Yes. Welcome to our spoiler discussion of The Favorite. Just like our First Man episode, we fucked this one up originally. I was crunchy because I lost the original First Man review and spoiler. I didn't record right. I pressed the wrong button on my recorder and...
Oh, when we listened back to it, it was quiet?
Yeah, it was silent because I pressed the wrong button. And I was really upset because I thought that was one of our best episodes because we had so much emotions pour out. But our new re-review of First Man wasn't that bad, so...
Yeah.
So that's great. And then this one,
and it carried over into this review, so now we're doing it again.
Yeah, we're doing it again. So everything we're saying is a week removed from the film, so there is some stuff we forgot. But I think the big general stuff we will still be able to go into well.
Yeah.
Plus, we're about to watch a South Korean movie. My first South Korean movie.
My second South Korean movie.
I'm about to lose my South Korean movie virginity.
Whoa.
I'm so excited. Anyone that knows me knows I love foreign cinema, so to experience, I'm already trying to get into that.
I've never heard anyone say they're gonna lose some movie virginity.
Oh, I always...
That was awesome.
I'll probably say it again for the movie that's burning, but...
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we're talking about The Favorite right now. If you're listening to this, you've already seen the movie, or you really don't want to watch it, but... I think I would recommend this movie to most people. It is a very interesting film. But
Favorite?
I loved it.
This is already the spoilers, right?
Yeah.
They're lesbian. I just had to say it right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess since we're already starting with the lesbian aspect, I think the way they showed... I love the moment, because I kind of knew from the beginning of the film that there was some lesbian relationship. Just from the fact that the queen is being manipulated so forcefully by this woman, I thought there was some sexual tension.
I knew that they were sexual, like this movie's gonna be sexual openly between male and female, but when it hit me with the female on female, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the queen was lesbian or the other lady. For some reason, it didn't hit me until it actually said, yeah, they're having relations together. I thought
it was brilliant, and yeah, it hit me way sooner. Just because how independent they were. They were so... They needed nothing from men.
Yeah,
and
she's the queen.
Yeah, but it just felt... This movie almost made all the men in the film... seemed like second to them, which is a really beautiful thing to see. But also, they almost get off of like making men do shit for them. So as soon as I started seeing that, I was like, they probably don't even get pleasure from men sexually. And throughout the whole film, there is never anything positive said about a man and woman sexual relationship. It's always rape, abuse, it's just molestation, all kinds of nasty shit that men have done to women. It
seemed like they weren't courted by men, they were just approached and then
forced,
touched.
Yeah, so it makes sense that, I mean, obviously this film is I don't know how historical it is, but let's just say it's based on on historical but fictionalized stuff. Just imagine living in that time period where you see a man and then that man can see you as something attractive or something, and he just takes advantage of you. How...
And then it's seen as your fault, I think.
Yeah, so I just imagine being a woman in that time period, the amount of attraction you have for the male gender is probably limited already by your first experience with them sexually, which was probably against your own will. And it was probably not something you enjoyed. And you probably didn't find any pleasure. And it probably disgusted you. And I think this film really portrays that really well. Just from the few scenes of where, like, in the beginning, you have Emma Stone's character riding in a carriage.
That's her name.
And then some dude is just staring at her, smiling. You think, oh, they're smiling at each other.
She's being cheeky, like Romeo and Juliet stuff.
Yeah, and then he just starts jerking off in the carriage with kids and old people, a woman, a man, in broad daylight, just cranking it.
Did you notice that when they smiled, their teeth were very yellow?
Yeah.
Or very rotten?
Yeah.
That's something that of the historical part that I noticed the most, because I don't like dirty things that smell. Like, I'm fine if I, go out, do a sport. I don't smell bad, and my clothes might be covered in dirt. That's Gucci. But if I step on dog poop, it's over.
Yeah.
And she falls off the carriage, like you're talking, after she's stunned by a guy jacking off, and then she lands on mud that smells really bad, goes up, and someone just casually says, oh, the citizens just poop on the street like nothing.
Yeah.
That's the part where I thought that should be accurate historically, because they didn't have plumbing and the whole sewage systems, and it was probably just like ditches and stuff.
Oh yes, that's very disgusting. Like that, just one scene and that one line of dialogue following it, it implanted the whole world.
Yes,
it's like that's all they had to say, and that was known, and it just like the world building in this movie, it was so brilliant, because most movies that take place during this time period, it feels like they're forcing information, where in this film it was just jokes or attacks or comments or remarks where the film grew the world, like where you understood, oh, these are the rules and dynamics. There was never a scene where it's plainly stated, you are a queen and you have to act like this, if you are a peasant, if you are whatever. It's just the way they interacted and how they spoke to each other informed the world. And that, honestly, I can imagine that was probably a budget thing. Because, for example, like Grand Budapest Hotel, they couldn't do so many, or Wes Anderson couldn't do real wide shots of real locations because a big-ass hotel would be expensive as fuck. So what did he do? He made a prop.
Oh, yeah, the pink one?
Yeah. But these people skip it, and
you don't miss it.
Yeah. It's something that I've learned from writing and from masters of filmmakers, masters of film and other mediums, is that the thing that most people say you have to establish something is usually false, and in reality most viewers don't require so much information to
enjoy the whatever content you're giving them.
Yeah, because I can see a weaker writer or a weak director being afraid of, oh shit, like I don't have a shot showing the whole castle. Are people gonna think it's not real, or are they gonna be confused where we are? But in reality, no one, once you're in that world, as long as you're introducing shit properly, then you don't have to have a wide shot of anything. Think about First Man. During the first launch, we never see outside the spaceship. But I can see any producer or anyone who's scared being like, oh shit, well, we need to make sure people remember they're in a spaceship, right? It's like, no, it's
a given.
Yeah. I think viewers...
It also gives you that void that you fill with your own imagination.
Yes.
You can imagine it as big as you want, and whatever color, design, whether it be super gothic or super more modern, cool modern, for those times, and I really like that.
I mean, there was some shots where you did see a good portion of the castle, because there was the shot where she was leaving in the carriage, and then there was the other shot where they were shooting, but you never saw like a full 360 view.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Oh, talking about that whole scene where they were going around the carriage. I never knew someone could create such a power-hungry... How is it called when three people are... A power-hungry love triangle in such a short amount of time, and with such a short amount of words. Really. Yes. Between all three. I mean, the two maids... They're not maids, right?
One was a assistant, and then the other one was a maid.
So the two maid assistants, they talked a lot, but they they had such a powerful connection that it made it so crazy for me. I've never experienced anything like that. I've never read anything like that, and it was really impressive for me watching that and having someone literally speak to me like, this is not just emotional, this is not someone trying to be higher position than the other. They're just so power hungry, and they just want to flex.
Yeah.
And show that they can manipulate whoever they want, whenever they want, because they found a secret from them, and they can manipulate them.
Oh, yes.
Like when, what's her name?
Emma Stone?
When Emma Stone found out that they were lesbian, she made a whole scenario. She got all prettied up. Oh, no, she didn't get prettied up. Her dress was all ripped, and then she staged everything so precisely. Like, I'm gonna be in the queen's bed, and I'm gonna pretend to sleep, and the queen's gonna come in, and she just conjured all this in her brain. And how she pulled it off, like acting wise and scenario wise, was perfect.
Yeah.
And even the queen lady's actress, the actress playing the queen, did a really good job at making herself feel like, oh, poor baby, you know, like, man, you're right. My bed is really comfortable. You can just, but I need you to leave because you're stepping your bounds right now.
Yeah.
But she wasn't gonna punish her because, like you're saying, she wanted her attention and her sexual attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the actress who played the queen, damn, I forgot her name. I'll look it up later. But she walked a very fine line of being
too dumb.
Well, yeah, too dumb, but also like that moment or that scene, she had to play angry. Like, why are you in my bed? But at the same time, once more information is revealed to her, she had to switch into a more compassionate way of speaking without it appearing fake.
Yeah.
There's a transition.
Yeah.
And I think she had a lot of stuff to work through because she had to go from acting like a child to acting like a queen, but acting like a queen as a child would, because she is very immature.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word, she is very codependent, immature, unresponsible, but at the same time so desperate for attention, love, and confused, scared.
I would have to say that she really does care about her people, though.
Yeah, she
really, really cares about how, if her people are fine, if they're rioting, she feels terrible about it.
Yeah.
If they're even thinking, oh man, this woman doesn't know how to do her job, she feels also terrible about that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to other things, she's not the brightest person.
Yeah. I think all her evilness, like, she is probably one of the kindest people who have ever probably was a queen during this period, because she is so humble in moments, but in other moments when she can't control her emotions, when she's angry or sad, she has to relieve herself by making people do something for her, and that's where the power hunger comes in. But I'm sure if she was in a good mood and you were to ride her around town, she would help everyone just out of willing to help, because there's so many scenes where she is just compassionate. And the only reason that she thinks people are lesser than her is because she was raised being a queen. That idea and concept was forced onto her. But the concept of being humble and nice and having humility, that is something that was just in her because she can't escape from it.
I have a question. What does humble mean?
Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. So lowering yourself, your own importance for someone else.
So you're not higher than anyone else.
Yeah. She shows signs of that when she's in a good mood.
Oh, yes.
For example, what king or queen has 20 bunnies just for the purpose of playing with them and letting them have a life and just giving them treats? She doesn't have those bunnies as a power thing. That is just her true nature, is to care for things.
I thought she had them because her children died. She had 10 kids, right?
Yeah.
And they all died.
Yeah.
So at some point, she bought a bunny to represent one of the kids. And she's living her kids' lives through the bunnies.
Oh yeah, I've probably like subconsciously that connected, you know, like I can't have children, let me have pets. There's a lot of people who can't have kids or lose something and they have a pet and that pet relieves them through that trauma. So I do agree with that.
Can we talk about, in the beginning, you are presented with the fact that her leg is wounded.
Well, she has gout.
Gout. She has gout. And throughout the film, it gets worse. And then at the very end, she's noticeably deteriorating.
Yeah.
Just mentally, either from what she's going through or just because she's so sick she can't get through things.
Yeah, because gout is such a severe disease that people suffer through.
Well, what I was gonna talk about was the fact that I like the progression from in the beginning when things seemed easier before Emma Stone's character came in, and after when she did break up with her longtime lover, who they've probably been lovers for years, even before she technically became a queen, even before she married or anything, or lost any of her kids, and then Emma Stone was there, and finally, at the very end, she resented Emma Stone so much. She became, in metaphor, she became the male that they all hate. Yeah. The male that just comes up and approaches you and touches you because they just want something from you. And I think it's really brilliant how the actress pulled it off, where half of her body wasn't moving and she was drooling while still, and you could tell she had bad vision from the beginning, but at the end she had it even worse. Yeah. And she could barely walk. Yeah. And her leg was probably super swollen. And yeah, that's it.
I love that whole theme, and I love just how you said the progression of it, because the first time we see it, it's so, with the score that the movie has in it, and it's like just so loud and annoying and disorienting. Yes. And I love how well it matched. I just imagine that sound was the equivalent of the extreme amount of pain that was pulsing through her leg or her body. Because she was just crying in pain, horribly crying in pain. And there was nothing that anyone could do that was making it better.
Then, do you remember when they were putting meat?
Yeah.
I'm glad bacteria wasn't discovered.
Yeah.
Or we would probably still be doing that shit today.
But I love all the progression. Just like you said, there's more scenes where she gets gout, and it continually gets worse. Her arm becomes limp. It seems like she has some sort of heart attack or something, or stroke. Half of her face goes numb and limp. She starts almost losing her mind even more than she does at the beginning. There's moments where I guess she has like PTSD of her losing her children. So certain things remind her of her children. And I think it's never said in the film, but it seems as if every time she listens to music, she remembers how her kids died. And I'm just assuming or guessing here, but I'm guessing that every time they had to do a burial of one of the children,
she's playing a certain song.
Well, there was, at a funeral, they have the orchestra playing music like dun 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 dun.
Isn't that when you get married?
Oh, which one is the death one?
I don't know. I only know the marriage one.
Oh shit. Well, anyways,
I always assumed that when it was funerals, no one played any music because everyone was crying so much.
Oh, well, that's what I am. I know there's a death one. I don't know.
Some Beethoven.
Yeah, I don't know. The point is, there was obviously a connection between the music and her children. Whether or not she passed time having music while she was pregnant or something, I don't know. But I really love that aspect, and I love how they showed those moments of outburst. And there's this one scene where she's running in the hallway, or she's walking down the hallway. She can't even walk.
Yeah.
And that...
she's going from ledge to ledge.
Yeah, and she's just stumbling around, crying. and talking to herself, hearing her children or not her children. I don't know what's going on. And we never really understand what she's thinking or going through. Mm-hmm. But that was such an amazing scene, and her performance was equally great. And I love how they slowly disabled her as a person. Mm-hmm. And with her legs being so swollen that she could barely walk was one of those ways. If you can hear screaming kids, there's screaming kids.
There's a lot of screaming kids.
Go, what were you going to say?
I just remembered the games that they would play back in the day. There was a couple games that they played, the shooting game. Mm. And they were also throwing fruit at a naked man.
Oh yeah, I
who
didn't
was
really
laughing.
Yeah.
And I guess just to pass the time. And it seemed like reading was also something that they enjoyed a lot.
Yes.
And just arguing in general.
Yeah.
Oh no, they did balls and dances and stuff.
Oh yes.
So I was just thinking about how all of those games, when you really think about it, they were so excessive because you could only do so many little things, and they took each of those little things to the max.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have just had a guy, you know, he's being their comedian, you know, telling jokes. They have to strip the man down and throw stuff at him. Yeah. Like, that's taken to the max.
Yeah.
For reading, they had a full, big, huge library, and it didn't seem like any of them read any of the books. They just had the books there just to have them as like
display.
Yeah, display. And then their dances looked so ridiculous. It looked like those bird mating dances.
Oh yeah.
And what else did it? Oh, and the shooting parts. They had to get super dressed up. They looked really good. And they had their big guns, and there was guys who did all the loading for them, and a guy throwing the pigeons. You know, like, they couldn't have gone out actually to hunt and shoot pigeons in nature. They had to set everything up to make it easy for them. Yeah, I was just thinking about those games and how I didn't have a chance to live through that. But just thinking about how boring it would be not having any other outlet except for those three things, how you could eventually take it to the max.
Oh, yes.
And at the end, probably, like, throw shit at each other just because that's the last thing.
Yeah. The other thing that they did was ridiculous animal races.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, there was...
animal races.
Was it geese or... Yeah, geese races? Or ducks?
I think it was ducks.
Yeah, duck races. Oh, my God.
What was the duck's name again?
Horatio.
Oh, yeah. The prized duck.
Yeah, the fastest duck in the town. And he was so composed. He was just like, he never quacked. Just chilling. And then he would pet his head and then pet his neck. That was such a cool duck. I bet that is an actor duck or actress duck. Just like the doggy from Widows.
Yeah.
And then they were gonna race crabs.
Lobsters.
And then, lobsters, and then eat them. Yeah. And she was so excited. It's like, oh, I'm so excited to race these lobsters and then eat the loser or something.
Or both.
It
didn't matter who won.
Eat the losers.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, not only in their position of excess, how extremely insane their activities could boil down to.
Because they've indulged in them for a long time. So how are they gonna step it up one more time? Can we I want to move on to the section of the movie where what's her name with the big eyes?
Emma Stone.
When Emma Stone was trying to be basically tricked / courted into a relationship with another gentleman who had some court bindings with one of the main guy, and they were trying to get her to give information to the judge, the wannabe judge guy from the white wig party. And then how Emma Stone's character was so aggressive. At some points she bit his lip. First encounter, she ripped the wig off of his face and smudged the makeup off.
Yeah.
And then kicked him out. And he was so shocked about it.
Yeah.
And the second time, they were in the woods, and it seemed like she had learned her defense tricks from that first guy that she was sold to, because her dad lost the bet.
Yeah.
How she would probably learn some of defense tricks from doing them on him, and then brought it to the new guy who was trying to be all cute and stuff in the woods, and she just kneed him in the groin and did some wrestling moves, and he could not pin her down. Ew, I don't know.
That scene was actually really amazing to me, just because how they went all the way. Like that actor, I don't know his name, but he was very realistically throwing himself.
Yes.
Not even like, oh, I'm gonna grab and then fake a fall, but just full blown leap, football tackle, full force. What if I fall on my face? Whatever, and over and over and over and over and over and over.
And by the end, he was so tired.
Yeah, and then I just imagine that must have been a really difficult scene to shoot, because you also don't want Emma Stone or him to get hurt, and they're playing in leaves with roots and sticks, everything around. And when your actor is going for it that full, and he's literally throwing himself with no remorse, and it's a scene that you would have to go all into it, or it would have looked fake as shit.
Super cheesy.
Yeah, but
it wouldn't have fit her character at all.
Yeah, so I love how much that describes Emma Stone's character, that scene, and that guy's character, because he was truly, and I believe, absolutely in love with her.
I don't think it was love. I think it was infatuation. He had lust for her.
No, but he was so sad when, even like after...
He was sad that he had to wait another day to have sex with her.
I don't think it was infatuation. I think he was truly in love with her.
I don't think so. I think he was truly in love with her after they had gotten married, and she still didn't give him any care. After that, that's when he started loving her, because she didn't give him anything.
No, I think, well, okay, we are at divides, but the scene later in the film where she's like hoeing around with everyone, just getting everyone's attention, sitting on people's laps.
Exactly, that's after he had already fallen in love with her.
No, but I don't know, I think love happens very early on, if it happens. So he fell in love with her when he saw her in the woods. Who is that girl? Because after the fact that he found out she was a peasant, she was basically nothing in their society, she was scum. Any other person who was just infatuated with her sexually could have easily just had sex with her and been done with it. But he wanted something way more, and he was willing to throw himself 20 times on the floor. You see how...
I don't think so, because you think about all the other relationships between males and females in this movie. Just think about how little real, maybe fake love is what you're trying to say, but he does not love her at all.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't love her, because whenever they were having conversations, it never showed a true approach of him really wanting something special, like a special word, or him saying something special to her. Either way, it was just him trying to get information. And that's why I believe that it was just infatuation, because even when they got married, he was listening to her get all angry and stuff, but at the end of the scene he was like, that's really important, that's really awesome, or whatever, but it's our wedding night and I'm hard. See, like, he just brought it back to him, his needs. So, and then that's whatever, the rest of the scene happened, and then he whatever, and then he's done, and that's it. I don't think he ever loved her. And the fact that, changing, he never loved her. The only reason why he looked kind of upset when she was sitting on people's laps and grabbing guys by the neck was because he felt disrespected. They were married, and to him, he's of a higher class than her. So even though they are married, he brought her up, and now she's disrespecting him by not staying in the woman boundaries of a wife.
Okay.
I made my point.
Okay.
You don't have to agree, sir.
No, I agree with you because there is not enough defense material in my case to plea me is right. I
don't think there was love at all in this movie either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was no scene of him actually truly showing true love. Just what you're saying, infatuation, which could be confused. But
I was saying more the no love even between the three women. None of them even felt like they were capable of loving, because for their own reasons they had gone through so much emotional stress in one aspect of their life that they at some point decided that they weren't gonna love anyone.
Yeah.
Because they had for some reason seen the true way humans are.
Yeah, I agree. There is no love in the film, so I take that back. But
you don't have to agree with
me. I know.
Just because you cannot defend your side with more facts doesn't mean I'm right.
No, you are right, because there is no supporting material in the film suggesting that there was that. I can assume that, but I don't have enough scenes. It's like in First Man, we don't see the mother as much, so you can't assume certain things because there's nothing there.
Yes,
you can fill in the blanks, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
But this film's theme, the whole idea and concept of this film is ego, power, and jealousy, manipulation.
Sprinkle in a little nastiness.
Yeah.
A little sex.
So it makes sense.
And a love triangle.
So it makes sense not to have any love. There is no true love in the film.
Love triangle doesn't mean love, right? What does love triangle can mean? Just three people involved with each other, even though they're having sex, but they're not loving each other?
No, a love triangle is when one person's in love. All right, you have a triangle, 3 points, right?
But can it be that person is in love with that person? Person A is in love with person B? Or is it person A can also be in love with person's B status? And that's the triangle. No,
a love triangle is actually people being in love.
Okay, then that's the wrong word.
Yeah, this film isn't really... It's set up like a love triangle, but the love isn't the person, it's power.
Yeah.
It's a power struggle. Power triangle. Love power triangle. But I would like to talk about... the queen's name is Olivia Colman.
Oh, yes.
Brilliant actress. One of the best performances of the year.
Miss Coleman.
Just to finish off some more scenes that she was in that really fascinated me. There was one scene where she's eating cake and she's just shoving her mouth full of cake, and then she vomits, and then someone half-asses wipes her mouth, just tapping a napkin on it, and then she continues to eat more cake. And that cake looks...
with vomit still on her face.
Yeah, on her lips. And she's just
previously you learned that she's basically allergic to cake. Whatever's in that cake. And she gives zero attention to her body and just keeps eating it.
Yeah. And I love the scene where she's on the window and she's like, I'm killing myself. I'm done. And she's so suicidal and desperate for attention. And then, I don't know, all her interactions with the other actress, her name is Rachel Weisz. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but we'll just say Rachel. Rachel played also one of the most amazing performances of the year. Well, one of the most amazing characters. Her character was so strong and determined. And just how Emma Stone's character was very aggressive. This was what Emma Stone's character would be after 10 years of doing that,
Yeah.
Where she is now the leader of everything. And just the way she walks into a room and she just controls the room. She walks into a discussion, she controls the discussion. And for most of the film, she is winning each fight. And just her dynamic with Olivia Colman, with Emma Stone, all three of them, like all their performances just feel they just match so well with each other. And there's some movies that I feel where it's multiple characters and some actors don't really mesh well with others for some reason. I can't imagine this movie with any other actresses. Another scene that I really love with the Queen was the scene where
She did fit her role very well.
The queen? Rachel Weisz.
Rachel.
Oh, yeah, because she looks so... I don't know. She was really pretty, but in a strong way. Like, I don't know, her face composition or whatever. Where Emma Stone looked more...
soft.
Yeah, she looked like Bambi or something, you know?
And the other girl and the other woman, she looked like a wolf.
Yeah.
Elegant, mystical, put together, but dangerous.
Yeah, her eyes were like knives, where you look at Emma Stone and she just always gave puppy eyes to everyone. And they just played those two dynamics very well. Like, what wins? Niceness or pure brute force?
Well, at the end, neither of them won. Yeah. Because the queen was like, I'm the queen. Touch my junk.
Oh, one of my favorite scenes is the part where she's giving she has like a court or whatever, and she's about to pass the tax law, and then Mr. White Wig fella dude says some shit where he's all, thank you for not raising the taxes. The whole village would go up in arms and blah, 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 blah.
God, that was such a perfect speech. Perfect. I have never in my life had the thought, you know what, this lady's just gonna do it. And with a couple words, a man or whoever says the words flips the whole script over to where the person who is going to deliver the hard news just can't do it.
Yeah.
That was so brilliant. I loved how it progressed to her. Well, you're gonna say you could go.
Well, yeah, you finish.
Okay, it progressed to her glancing to her left passionately, thinking to her side lady. What's her name?
Rachel.
Looking at Rachel for confirmation, and Rachel's like, "You have this. You have this, queen." And the queen just...
Yes, queen.
The queen just lifts her paper so close to her face. It shows that she is blind, literally blind, and she just takes a step to the right and lets her body go limp. Not even pretend, like she just
falls onto the
she basically pancakes her face on the floor. I love that part.
Yeah, that is one of the funniest scenes I've seen all year. And just
and everyone's reactions, they look like little swarms of ants just going for a treat, like
yeah.
And they surround her. That's awesome.
And I love the use of editing in that scene, delaying the time, showing the guy give the speech, having him sit down, showing the crowd, silence, everyone, you feel the awkwardness in the room.
Yes.
Showing Rachel's character, looking at the queen looking at Rachel's character, Rachel saying, just go, you got it, good job. And just all that shit just was edited to perfection. And then just shooting to the wide shot with the reveal of her I didn't know she was gonna pass out because there was no sign of that in the film.
And she passed out right by some stairs.
Yeah.
You know how dangerous that is?
That was awesome. And I love how it didn't cut from a fall. She just...
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
You just saw her dress poof up behind her because she had that, I don't know what it's called. Yeah. It's like a metal thing that they put under their dresses.
Yeah. And I love that whole dynamic of the war and taxes and all this political stuff. I love how political they were without even trying to be political at all. And I love how that aspect of the film was directly influencing not only the queen but the two supporting actresses who were directly involved in the storyline. Like that element was so integral to everything.
Yes.
Which is what I really love, because it's almost like a metaphor for how personal lives get conflicted into this war. Like there's people actually dying. It's such a big event, but
you see people ride off into the war, and some never came back.
Yeah. And having that as a central element, but it's, for the main characters, it's a talking point.
Yeah.
It's a embarrassing choice to announce.
Also, you want to see my new socks? They're embroidered, they're very elegant, and I brought them to this party.
Yeah.
Like, it's at that level.
Yeah. I love how that continued to be played out throughout the whole film. And that aspect was the fulfillment of power at the end. Who could control this war was the ultimate power. Mm-hmm. And even though Emma Stone probably didn't give a shit about the war, she got the final word by saying, "Oh, it's like a party," and just how you said. Yeah. And you don't want to show up late to the party, so, or whatever the hell her metaphor was. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant. I actually like the guy actor who played the White Wig. I think he did a pretty good job acting as a... He seemed so dumb, but at the same time he was smart in what he knew, but just common sense, he was kind of stupid. And the way he went about things was very stupid, but his goals and intentions were very smart, which it seemed like almost every character had. Whatever they wanted to achieve, they were smart in how they wanted to achieve it. But in everything else, they were just fucking stupid. Yeah. And I think it was a really cool example of that in the film.
I liked how they showed different levels of elegance throughout the whole movie. So how everyone was dressing, they were so pretty. They were so well put together, but at the end, it's what came out of their mouths and their actions that were so nasty.
Oh, yes. You know? Yeah. I really love that scene as well. And then when it progresses to the whipping.
Oh, yeah, they hit her really hard in the back.
Another class example, since she rose from being a peasant to a lady or whatever. The scene where that other peasant girl gave her like a bucket of acid and stuff. And then the way she just smiled at it. And how every character was... Even the peasants were trying to destroy each other for power. Yet, even though they couldn't ever reach a higher level of power, they wanted other people under them. Mm-hmm. So no matter what class you were in, no matter what group you were in, someone is always trying to put you down.
There's no sympathy at all. Or remorse that I saw. Yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah. It's like a dog-eat-dog world.
You think back in the day people didn't live that long? Like, past 40 years?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. There was so much disease. I mean, look at how they slept in the other scene where she's there for the first night and she's sleeping. And you just hear people coughing and choking in the middle of the night. Imagine if one person had tuberculosis or, I don't know, whatever.
Smallpox.
Yeah, smallpox or fucking pneumonia.
Just a common
the flu, strep. It would spread like wildfire. Yeah. And no one did anything to... If one of the chefs got the flu... Everyone in the entire castle would get it because they didn't use gloves, they didn't wash their hands.
Oh, you remember the scene where they were technically taking a shower and they were just tossing water on themselves and they were passing around this rotten piece of
sponge or something?
Mush, and they were rubbing their armpits? Ugh.
And that's it, was just like rub, pass on. Yeah. Oh, I bet they all smelled so horrible.
Yes. Clean clothes, disgusting smelling skin. I bet you their feet smell like Cheetos.
Oh, yeah.
What else do you want to talk about?
Oh, some more of the technical stuff. I really loved the costume design. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just brilliantly displayed. Mm-hmm. You know, Emma Stone's character goes through a lot of wardrobe. Oh, yes. Rachel's character has a consistent style of she has elegant dresses, but they look very firm and strong. Mm-hmm. I feel like every character's costume or wardrobe just very easily described them. Just looking at them for half a second, you knew who they were. The white wig dude looked way over the top and ridiculous. And I don't know, I just love the costume design across the board. I love the set design. Oh my god. All the sets look so amazing to me. The long hallways, the rooms, the corridors, the book, the library, all the outdoors shots. I don't know, it just all looks so authentic to the time. Mm-hmm. And it just showed so much of the world. And I love the score. All the music was so perfectly annoying. Mm-hmm. I remember at first I was like, wow, this is what You Were Never Really Here was trying to be. Mm-hmm. And this film did it so easily, just by having very loud, obstructive noise, but it was consistent. Mm-hmm. It was never random. There was purpose behind it. And it was like, dang, dang. So loud, and then you would hear nothing, and then it pops, and you know it's coming, so you're already like cringing, just knowing that the score was going to continue on because the scene is ongoing. Yeah. I love all the orchestra stuff that they have in it. Let's see.
How did you feel about the use of lenses.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna get to, the cinematography. Let me look up the cinematographer's name. What did you think about the shots and the visual?
I've never seen a movie use these types of shots.
Really?
And for what they were trying to accomplish, it made sense why they were using these types of lenses, because it made the world seem very warped.
Oh,
or just very, very manipulated.
Oh, yes.
Which is what the queen was basically going through, even though she thought she had everything handled at some point when she was okay. It was either a manipulation from her sickness, or the fact that she couldn't really see what was going on with her decisions of the whole war, or the manipulation of the two women who were trying to get her attention. It wasn't just for them. It kind of felt like they were trying to bring her down as a person too.
Yeah.
So, or maybe even her sadness, because it seemed like at some point she just retreated into her own thoughts of all the bad things that have happened to her, and she couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the lens choices and the shot designs really reflected that. The cinematographer is Robbie Ryan, and especially the warping thing, like that's what wide lenses do, is they subvert reality. Mm-hmm. And like the Coen brothers or other directors, they love to shoot close-ups with wide lenses because it makes your face look abnormal, it makes your nose, like if it's trying to poke out of the screen, your face kind of warps around like a fish, or it makes you fat like a puffer fish or something. And just using so extreme variations of it, there's shots that are literally fisheye lenses, which is like you're looking at a dome, like someone just bent the whole frame inward. I think there's like 3 shots with it. One in the hallway, in this big moment of distress when Emma Stone is realizing she's losing her power, and just seeing the hallway just curve like it was a cylinder. But you've been in that hallway so many times, and so it's so powerful, showing the same environment, but now that the emotions are different, or the stakes are higher, or there's a new consequence, having the lens portray that by warping it very literally is fucking glorious. And then the wide lenses just shows so much of the world, so it even bleeds into what I was saying about set design. All the scenes in the kitchen, the top of the frame isn't, Emma Stone's head, it's all the way to the roof, and it's so absurdly tall, and it just shows so much of the world, and it just makes you feel like you're in there. Yes. Where most films that I've seen in this time period, they go very traditional shot designs and lenses to make them feel elegant, and just this film purposely making everything look as distorted and disgusting as they possibly can is fucking phenomenal. And I think it must have took a lot of courage to do that, because as a film financer, imagine you're putting up the money for all these costumes, these sets, these actors, big name actors, and all this stuff, and then the first shot you see back from on set is a fucking fisheye lens, and you're just like, what are we making, dude? A music video? No! Like, damn, I don't think people are gonna like it.
Give me my money back.
So Robbie Ryan and Yorgos Lanthimos, who is the director, just visually this film is so striking, and I just love how determined they were to make something unique.
This movie was British?
I think it's considered British. I think the filmmaker's from Britain. I am not sure though.
Okay, better question would be, where was this shot?
I don't know. Probably Britain. Let me look.
Are there any castles in the US?
Yeah, well, it was shot in Ireland, the UK, and the United States.
Whoa.
So those 3 locations.
Wow.
Oh, no, wait. It was all shot in UK. Yeah, it was all shot in the UK.
United Kingdom?
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's amazing.
How did you feel about the main story?
Oh, yeah, I just want to talk about the script. This is one of the sharpest scripts of the year. There's only one script that I think is sharper in dialogue and just in pure writing.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
No finish, but then can I guess?
Okay, I won't say. But in writing and dialogue and just the way everything was structured and the dynamic of the story, the way all of it was just put together. Do you want to guess what?
The Facebook movie?
No, I'm saying from last year. I was going to say Blind Spotting.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, they're so precise. There's, like, a precision they know exactly what they're going for, and they just fucking go for it.
Verbally.
And verbally. And so much of this film is just verbal execution. And Blindspotting had that same element, and they're so different. You know, this is very British. All the humor, everything is so fucking British, it's ridiculous. The way they attack each other is in a very polite, disgusting,
elegant,
blunt way. Like, how do I say fuck you without saying fuck you in a very polite way?
And then they get it done.
Oh, man, and then the attacks that they have for each other. There's one scene where the Queen is riding away, and Rachel's character is jealous that Emma Stone is spending more time with the Queen, and she saw that Emma Stone was butt naked in her bed or whatever. And then the Queen, they're having the argument, and then the Queen looks at her and snaps at her and says, I like how she puts her tongue inside of me. Or no, I like how her tongue feels inside of me.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, I'm just going to tell you exactly why I like her more than you. And then I just imagined, what if Rachel's character doesn't like licking her or something? And there's an actual personal reason. And that, like, imagine how personal of an attack that is.
It's probably because she doesn't take any showers.
I don't know, but that is so sharp and so... like, how do you write that? I don't know. That's just so awesome. And there were so many moments of that in this film where the things they say to each other is so, like, they're on it. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I humiliate you? And I feel there's things that they say to each other that us as viewers, we don't really know, but the person writing, they probably know so much backstory that this actually means way more than you even think it means.
Oh, yes. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Even when Emma Stone first arrives, maybe you could be a monster for the kids to play with. And just, I love how they own an attack and then they twist it to re-attack you. And it's brilliant. Where, you know, Blindspotting was a way more compassionate and honest and emotional portrayal of Word. This is just the most disgusting version of it. And just having those two films come out in the same year is really amazing.
Oh, yes.
I still think Blindspotting takes the prize, though. Just the use of lyrics, but this film was very smartly written, and I think the screenplay deserves a lot of recognition because it manages three main characters, a whole war event. You're balancing all these elements and themes and ideas so greatly. There's that one scene, another really sharply written scene where the guy goes into Emma Stone's room and she's like, have you came to, what did she say? Have you came to, she said something about like, have you came to rape me or something? Or,
oh, did you come to
court me or rape me?
No. Can you let me
Okay.
Can you let me think?
Damn it.
She was like, why are you in my quarters? And he's like, I just came, or something like that. And then she's like, so are you here to rape me or to make love or something like that, right? And then he's like, oh, I'm here as a gentleman. And she says, okay, rape. And she goes limp.
Yeah, she just flops. And I just imagine reading that on a piece of paper, like, dude, you're going for it. Like, that is so fucking, just so funny, but also depressing in the fact that these characters are just, that's their daily lives. Oh my god. And then there was another comeback where she was telling, I think Rachel's character or something, she was like, because she had won, I've already won or whatever, the war, and I have a servant coming with something called a pineapple. And it was just like, get the fuck out of my room because the servant's bringing me something that is called a pineapple. And I was just like, oh my god, that is probably such an...
have you ever had a pineapple? I'm pretty sure you have.
Yes.
I heard they're not even in season. Huh.
Yeah, like that kind of shit, but it's written flawlessly. I don't know how to write that kind of dialogue. And these two people who wrote it, fuck, they knocked it out. It sounds so specific to that time period, but it still feels so modern in the way they're speaking of it.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel like it's making fun of itself. It just feels...
wit.
Yeah. Fuck. I truly think comedy is one of the hardest things to do, and then this movie does very, very dark, disgusting comedy. I can see someone watching this film and thinking straight up the whole movie is a comedy, and I can see someone else watching this film and thinking straight up it's a drama piece.
Not a love triangle because there's no love.
Power triangle. I also love how like the queen has all this trauma, and it just one scene she talks about it. There's never flashbacks, and it's so powerful and just written. They tell you something bluntly, and then they show you signs of it afterwards, but they don't ever cater to you, you know? There's never some, oh, she lost 5 kids. You know, it's coming from the source. Yes. And you're seeing the emotional outpour, and it's just...
Yeah. I don't like how Emma Stone's character took advantage of the bunnies at one point. She stuck the bunny.
I think that scene was just a true sign that she had crossed all barriers. There's a moment where she says, when she's just got married with the husband, her new husband, she says, "I feel like I'm beginning to have to lose my moral ethics to win this war." And she was talking about how I need to start fighting in ways that I might not be comfortable or whatever. You remember that scene? And then she's talking to herself about it, trying to think of a plan, and then I'm hard as a rock or whatever, and then that's another scene. She's jerking some guy off while she's thinking of how to win this power battle. That is such a ridiculous scene, and it works so well, and it's, oh my god, just thinking about that.
You just see him in the back, like, pressing against the bed for, like, oh my god, this girl's a pro.
And that whole scene, to me, it was her thinking, to win this, I need to go to the next level. And then that scene of her just choking the bunnies out, she had already passed through the next level of how evil she was willing to be, that she didn't even care for bunnies anymore.
Well, she also understood the significance of each one of them with relevance to the queen's memory of her past child. So it was just an extra punch to the face to the queen, saying, this is how insignificant your feelings are to me when I'm trying to get what I want.
Yes. And
the fact that she did this in front of the queen in her room while she was just taking a light nap.
And it squealed.
Yes, and she kept going and eventually released it slowly, but she didn't care that the queen noticed, clearly was angry at her, and she didn't even apologize.
Yeah. I think once she put her foot down on it, there was probably that immense adrenaline rushing through her, like I can fucking kill this thing, and just the evilness radiating within her. And you know, it's when I've heard that when someone does something very wrong or illegal, and then they're doing it in the way that they are more likely to get caught, they enjoy that act so much. You know, it's like, I'm gonna steal $100 from my mom, and she's in the room while I'm gonna steal it. And you still are going through with it. And I think that emotion...
It's not what you're doing, it's the rush that you're getting from it.
And to make them know that you're willing to hurt them. Whether it's subconscious or conscious, it's that rush.
Yeah.
And, well, since we're already at the ending there, I love the ending where she does that, showing a power move. And then the queen notices and is so furious. She could do anything she wants, but she does the exact thing she's doing to the bunny.
Because she's tired of it.
Yeah.
She doesn't have enough will. She doesn't have enough life in her to give another part of her away to someone who she thought she loved. It's as if Emma Stone was her baby, and then her baby died in front of her.
Yeah.
At that moment, she couldn't have given her any more breath of kindness because she was so sick herself.
Yeah. And I love...
Well, I'm sorry.
No,
for interrupting.
No, that's exactly that. And I love how that scene shows it. And the power dynamic that I was speaking of was she's forcing her to, pleasure her sexually, but the queen doesn't even look like she's being pleasured in that last scene when it goes to her close-up. She's just squeezing her head down. And I imagine how hard she's pushing down on her head. Like, you're under me. And I just imagine the emotions and the thoughts going through her mind. And like, I raised you, I made you a lady.
And now you treat my personal emotions like this.
Yeah.
Openly.
Yeah. And the way that ending was shot was so beautiful. The two close-ups, the Queen left, Emma Stone right, and how they aligned them in the edit to fade in and out. And at times you see both of their heads as if they were not staring at each other, but they're on the same level. They're both equally disgusting, and they're equal in how despicable they are. And then you have the imagery of bunnies fading in.
Lots of bunnies.
And I was just like, oh my god, this is what editing is. Oh my flipping god. Like, people probably saw that scene and were just like, that's kind of confusing because,
why are all those bunnies there?
Yeah, the bunnies are in their cages, right? But it's like a visual, it ends in a poetic way. You have those two faces. You have everything that happened before defining this moment. And then you see bunnies on bunnies on bunnies on bunnies, different shots of bunnies fading in and out.
Yes.
And it's just, for me, that scene was, here's two people despicable entranced in this dance of evilness. And now and these bunnies represent the undeniable rebirth and constant birth of this evilness. This is only going to make more and more despicable people who are power hungry. And the bunnies, for me, represent that vicious cycle. And it ending with bunnies is fucking brilliant.
That's cute. I really like how there were different sizes and it wasn't the same breed.
Yeah.
They were all different, and it seemed like they were all different colors too.
Yeah. Like, it didn't matter.
Some look so chubby.
What class, what color, what size, what shape, what age. Power infects anyone and everyone if you let it. And evilness, it's just pure evilness. The loss of compassion for another living organism can cause you to be like that. This story was about humans, but I don't know. It's just, you can make that parallel to almost anything.
The thing, what don't animals do that too? Is just for them it's survival, the survival of the group, not necessarily survival and preservation of self. Yeah, which is what at least these characters did. Yeah,
well, humans have this emotional ego that can be attached to things too, I think.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Well, that last scene was brilliantly edited, but there's a bunch of other scenes that were very well edited as well. Whether it was like cut to blacks, cut to white, there was a bunch of fades. The whole editing, the pacing of the film was brilliant. I already talked about the cinematography and direction, the performances, all that. It was just a very fascinating film. I think I've said everything. Yeah. But if I forgot something, it wasn't probably that big of a deal.
Did you like this movie?
Yes.
You did like this movie?
You did not like it? So what's your final review for the peeps?
Oh, okay. So my review is a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
I need to sit down, really think about what my review system works.
Oh, yeah, I need to.
Because it doesn't work on technicals. Which is what you told me last time. It is very technical for you. But for me, a movie can be very technically perfect. But it's the impact or the resonance. Also the vibe that it gives off to me. And if it mostly inspires me to think of think in a different way or open my mind to another possibility, is when they get a super high score.
Yeah.
So I think I would give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Well, I would give this film a 10 out of 10. I think it's truly a masterpiece. Masterful from beginning to end. For me, a 10 out of 10 film isn't perfect, but it is a film that has a clear goal, and every aspect of the film supports that. Yes. I feel like the major theme of this is power and the ego and whatever you want to call it, but just wanting to put someone under you.
Self-centeredness.
Yeah, and I feel like this film, from beginning to end, every element defines that over and over and over again. Every character, they don't grow; they just become more evil. Every piece of dialogue is about someone hurting someone else or learning something to hurt someone else. Every shot reflected that. The camera angles, the lens choices, the warping of everything, the sound design, the score, the sets, the costumes.
Yes.
And one of the best scripts of 2018. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I only gave a couple of 10 out of 10s from 2018, and this is definitely one of them. Without a doubt, first time watch. I knew it was a 10 out of 10
from the trailer.
From the ducks coming. Just seeing how confident it was, and how confident it was in knowing what it wanted to be. And there's something about a film where you can boil down the entire film to one word: power. And I can't not give that a 10 out of 10. That is, to me, a master, and masters of craft working at their highest level is when you can boil an entire film down to one word, and they had to think about that before they even started.
Can I say something about Emma Stone?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Emma Stone in a lot of movies, so my pool of her acting is very small. But I did see her in La La Land, and she was nothing like how she was in La La Land, and it was very surprised. I was very surprised, and at the same time grateful that she didn't bring that character into this, because it wouldn't have worked. Which just shows how good of an actress she is.
Yes, she's actually a very good actress. And there are some scenes here where she had to very physically do things. And I imagine reading the script and be like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of this. And then the day of like, oh yeah, you're gonna jerk this guy off, or you're gonna act like you're jerking this guy off, or you're gonna eat her out or finger her. And I don't know,
show it very explicitly. And you just came from La La Land, and I was like,
And also the emotional range. She goes from desperateness to crying to screaming to in pain to fake crying to laughing, fake laughing, happiness, fake happiness.
It's all in the eyes for her. Yeah. She has big ol' beautiful eyes.
Yeah. And I think her, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman, the 3 lead actresses, they went through so many performances. This is I can see as an actress reading this and being like, yo,
perfect.
This just sounds like fucking fun.
Yes.
Like, why wouldn't I do this?
Where can I sign?
You're telling me I can be disgusting as shit and cuss people out in a very polite British way? Damn. I just want to learn a British accent. I'm game.
Whoa. Teach me the lingo. Well, thank you for listening to our spoilers. Make sure you go to bed early, It's not good for you to sleep so late.
Yes. And watch how you treat people, if you saw this movie, think about how when you put someone down.
No, don't think about that at all. Keep treating everyone like shit. Tell them to go eat a pineapple, whatever that is. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Be aware when someone's manipulating you.
Yeah, that's...
Don't be this queen.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, email us at cineverm@yahoo.com. Thanks for listening. Check out our other reviews and spoiler talk
Or dragon fruit. Say, I'm gonna go eat a dragon fruit, whatever that is, because I don't know a lot of people who be eating dragon fruits.
Shout out to dragon fruit. We're gonna see you tomorrow, bruh.
Yo. Bye.
Bye.